Hi Sagittarius, welcome to your July 2019 Astrology 33 bonus love reading. Before I forget, for those of you interested in booking a reading with me, following me on Instagram, or donating to the channel, check out the description of the video for more info on that. And thank you to those of you who have already liked, subscribed, and donated. And for those of you who are used to my regular readings and not these bonus ones, what you're looking at here is this is a spread I call the Bridging the Gap spread. And the way it works is the three cards on the left side you see here, that would represent your energy towards the connection with your main love interest. And then these cards will represent their energy towards the connection. And then these positions will represent the past energy, present energy, future energy. And then what we do after we get to the main spread is we actually pull some oracle cards to see if there's any additional insight we could get there. And that's where the bridging the gap element comes into play. And also, if you're wondering what decks these are, on the left side here we have the Lover's Path Tarot. On the right side we have the Tarot of Sexual Magic. Alright, so let's get started. In the past position on your side we have the Queen of Coins in reverse. So while we talk about it, I'll just put it in the upright. So it's less distracting. But yeah, so this is the equivalent of the Queen of Pentacles, which is a Capricorn energy. So, for you guys, Capricorn is your second house. So this could just be saying that you, in the past, you're very focused on finances, and maybe because you were having some financial difficulty. There's some crazy stuff going on in your second house. I don't think I have to tell you, you probably already know, between, Saturn being retrograde, Pluto being retrograde, Mars was opposing them recently, so there's just all kinds of craziness. South Node in there, you probably know the deal by now. So this could just be saying that, you might have felt like you were unstable financially, so that might have been where your focus was. To put this in a relationship context too, though, it could just even be pointing to the fact that, you weren't necessarily looking to build anything stable. You weren't looking for anything serious in the past with this person. That could be another way that energy is playing out as well. What's interesting is the past energy on their side. We have the Three of Pentacles. So this is actually another Capricorn energy, interestingly enough. But this card is actually the opposite of what we were talking about here, as far as this is about building stability. It's about building something stable. It's like a mixture of Saturn energy, which gives it that stability and that long-lasting quality, and then a mixture with Venus energy, which gives it that, aesthetically pleasing, beautiful, something that you're happy with type vibe. So to me, this looks like, in the past, this person was trying to get something serious off the ground with you, and it seemed like you weren't necessarily on the same page with them. Now, it can be a combination of those things, meaning that, you weren't trying to get anything serious off the ground with them, but maybe the reason was because you were so worried about your finances. You're like, I can't even, think about a love relationship right now. I got to get my finances in order, and that happens sometimes. So it could definitely be a combination. But for some of you, it just might strictly be you were focused on finances in the past. Others of you could just be you just weren't interested in this person in that way in the past anyway. All right, in the present energy, we have the Eight of Coins, which is the equivalent to the Eight of Pentacles, and we have the King of Arrows, which is the equivalent of the King of Swords, and this is actually an Aquarius card. So, again, this could just be even more, energy pointing to saying that you're really just focused on your finances, trying to get your money straight. And then mix that with this energy here, that Aquarian energy can come off a bit detached sometimes when it comes to romance. So it could just be saying that that's your vibe right now because you're still so focused on your finances. You're pretty much detached and not even really thinking about romance. I mean, if we look at his position in the spread too, if we put it back there, he's looking away from the connection completely. So that, there's some symbolism there as well. And so yeah, that's what I'm picking up. But another way this could be playing out too, though, is this could just be saying that you are actually starting to put in the work now towards the connection. If we say that, okay, this is actually representing your work towards the relationship. And then with this, Aquarius represents your third house. So this could just be saying that you're working on communicating better. Maybe that was it because you were so focused on your finances. Maybe you just weren't even really communicating clearly with them. And maybe now you're still not necessarily ready for a relationship, but maybe now you're at least letting them know the deal. Like, look, I'm really wrapped up with my finances right now. I can't really. So whereas before you just might not have been explaining yourself at all and letting them know what was going on, leaving them hanging in a way. And now at least you might be like, all right, let me let them know the deal, what I'm trying to work on, and which at least shows some level of interest on your part, I guess. But also lets them know, hey, I don't think this is the right time. And then the energy on their side for the present is the Queen of Chalices. So this is actually a card for Cancer. So it could just represent a shift on their part too, which could say, even though this is about building stability in a romantic sense, could have just been saying that they too might have had a very, financial focus in the past in some way, shape, or form, and maybe now they're actually being a bit more emotional and a bit more loving toward you. Maybe it's because you let them know, hey, I'm just really stressed with work or whatever. So maybe they try to, get you out of that state of mind and just get you to relax a little bit, take care of you a little bit. That could be the way it's playing out. Given that Cancer is your 8th house and this is the energy they're bringing too, this could just also be saying that they're bringing a real sexual energies to the connection. Maybe they're actually trying to get you in the mood in that way and maybe get your mind off your money that way, right? Which usually is pretty successful. So maybe that's what's going on there. But yeah, what I'm noticing is just even when we start to talk about the next position, though, it looks like finances are pretty heavy on your mind right now. So this could just be them, trying to inject a little bit of love into the connection, and some emotion. And then in the future position on your side, we have the 7 of Coins. So yet more Pentacle energy there. And the 4 of Cups. So this could be playing out a few ways. That 7 of Coins energy to me, in the traditional Rider-Waite, it's just the one guy, and he looks like he's a bit, deep in thought, trying to consider if he still wants to put in the work, realizing that it's taken him a long time to get to those 7 Pentacles and wondering, okay, is this really the best way to be doing things, or should I consider, doing something differently? So this could just be you coming to a realization that, that's where you're at right now with your work, that you're kind of spinning your wheels, and it's going to take a long time for you to get where you want to be. In the context of a relationship, though, this could just be saying that you realize that there would have to be a lot of work put into the relationship. And then maybe that's the realization you're coming to. Like, okay, if I really do want this to work, I have to, shift gears a little bit and stop focusing on my finances so much. I actually have to put some work and effort into the connection, right? And with the 4 of Cups, what's interesting there is these are both kind of dissatisfied energies, basically. So is it because of the finances still that you're still feeling this way? I can't say for sure. You guys will know better, obviously, but yeah. This is an energy, though. What's interesting, I view the 4 of Cups energy. This is actually a Cancer energy, too. The last 10 degrees of Cancer. So maybe it's just a timeline pointing that, maybe you come to this realization during those last 10 degrees of Cancer. And that would actually line it up with the full moon energy, which will be in your 2nd house. So just what you need, right? More focus on your money. But yeah, there's going to be a full moon eclipse in your 2nd house, too. So maybe that could play out more positively to where you wrap up, your money concerns at that point. Like, all right, I know what I'm doing now. You have a schedule in place or a plan in place for how you want to get to where you're going. And now you're like, okay, now I can focus on love. And maybe you're realizing, you're just hopefully not waiting too long. But what I really see with the 4 of Cups energy, usually to me, it's like you're getting things that you don't want, but you're not outwardly expressing that you don't want those things. You know what I mean? So it's like if we look at the traditional Rider-Waite, for example, there's 3 cups in front of the person, then there's a 4th coming. The person has their arms crossed. They don't look happy with what they're getting at all. But at the same time, they're not getting up and leaving, right, to go after what they do want. So that could be a realization you're coming to as well, which is, okay, well, it's one thing for me to sit here and say, I don't want these types of offers, but what do I want, right? And then at the bottom of the deck on your side, you have the Eight of Cups, which represents, walking away from something and looking for something more fulfilling. So it can be tied into the relationship aspect, which is saying, maybe you realize that with this person, like I said, you might realize that there would have to be a lot of growth between the two of you for the relationship to get somewhere. So you might be saying, well, is it even worth sticking around, or should I just, you know, leave the connection altogether and look for something more fulfilling? Or another way it could be playing out is you're realizing, in order for me to get this more fulfilling connection, I need to, walk away from the way I'm currently doing things, which, like I said, you could just be really overly focused on your finances, and that could be what's holding your romantic relationships back right now. And on their side, in the future position, we have the Eight of Wands. So this is actually a Sagittarius card, the first 10 degrees of Sagittarius. So, which reminds me, if as we've been going through the spread, you feel like, even though this is supposed to be your energy, if you feel like this represents the other person's energy and this sounds more like your energy, then definitely trust that it is just a general reading after all. So it can play out that way. But yeah, the Eight of Wands, this could just be saying that they're taking a lot of action. They're still trying to get things off the ground with you. They might be communicating a lot. And maybe that's what it is too. Maybe, you're getting these offers from them, right? With that Four of Cups, like I was saying. And you might not be happy with those offers they're making you, but at the same time, well, maybe you're realizing that you have to go after what you do want, right? Might even be with this person, but maybe you just need to communicate with them clearly and say, look, this is what I'm looking for, and see if things will work out in that regard. Bottom on the deck on their side, they have the Two of Wands. So, this is an energy of starting things, starting something new. It's an Aries card, the first 10 degrees of Aries. So, yeah, could just be where they're coming from with it, and it could just be coming into the month with this being the overall theme that's where they're at. They're like, all right, I want to get something off the ground with them. And maybe that's where all this came from, the Three of Pentacles. So it could just be pointing to them attempting to get things off the ground with you, whereas you're not necessarily happy with what you have, but now you're finally deciding, all right, I'm going to go after what I do want. It's not too clear if it's with this person or not. I really feel like it could be a mixture. It could be that you're not really that interested, and that's why you're not really, feeling the need to shift your focus from finances. But for the most part, I think it's really like more of a timing thing where you're just so wrapped up in your finances that you can't even get yourself in that mood to think about relationships right now. And like I said, totally understandable with all the crazy stuff going on in your second house. And like I said, maybe you'll feel that energy lighten up a little bit after that full moon eclipse happens in your second house. But until then, it could be a little bit heavy. And then, generally speaking, too, a little bit maybe a week or so after that, you have the Sun in Leo, so that'll help you have more supportive energy in fire houses. So this might feel the energy start to lift in a more positive way after that, basically. All right, so let's see if we can get some additional messages with the Oracle deck I have here. This is one of the Mystic Moon Oracle decks. And what I try to use this one for is I'll see if there's any unspoken messages from you toward them, and then from them toward you. So I do shuffle this deck before we start recording, but I actually like to pull jumpers from this deck. So, oh, there we go. There's one from you to them, and then we'll see if there's one from them to you now. But yeah, I was just saying, I like to get jumpers from this deck. So, if nothing comes up after I shuffle for a while, I'll just take that as a sign that there's no additional messages that really need to come out with this deck, and then we just move on. So, we'll see. Almost had one there. give it a few more shuffles, see if we get anything, but looks like nothing's coming up right now. Alright, yeah, nothing coming up from their side, so let's just look at the card that you got, which is, I feel damaged, like I just can't do this. So, interesting, and if that really is how you're feeling, given that this would be like an unspoken message that you would have said to them, I do feel that it's definitely tied to how you're feeling about yourself financially more than anything. And like I said, definitely some rough energies going on in your second house. So for those of you who are feeling that way, I totally get it. That could be what it is. And then, a queen energy in the upright is definitely confident, feeling secure and stable as well. So this could just be saying, even apart from finances, you just might not be feeling, that sense of confidence that you normally would right now. And, I forgot to mention too, on top of all the stuff going on in your second house, you have your ruling sign, your ruling planet, rather, Jupiter in your sign, still retrograde. So maybe when it goes direct next month too, maybe that'll help you feel like, you're back on top of things. So, if that is the energy you're in where you're just not feeling like yourself and, you really can't put your energy into a love relationship, I would expect that energy will most likely lift for most of you next month. So there's that at least. All right. And then the next thing we'll do is this is one of the Oracle decks I use in the regular readings as well. But yeah, this is the Wisdom of the Oracle. So we'll try to get a card from here for some last messages and then we'll wrap up. And I don't remember if I even mentioned it at this point yet or not, but there's going to be a lot of Mercury retrograde energy as well, so it's going to be pretty crazy energy in general for most of the signs in July. So in general, this just might not be the best time to start a love relationship anyway. So there's that too. So like I said, if that's really where you're at right now mentally, where you're just worried more about your finances than anything else, probably a good time to focus on that anyway, and not worry as much about love. But yeah, I mean, obviously this probably doesn't resonate for all of you either. I'm sure not everyone's going through that same experience, but for those of you who are, I don't think it's going to last too much longer. Might feel like it, especially with all the stuff going on this month, but given it over a month or so, things should start to shift in a more positive manner. Oh, there we go. Okay, the card you got is the Tribe. Someone else got this too. I think it might have been Leo. So, yeah, but there's the artwork for it. And the number 8. All right, essential meaning says community, belonging, being seen and understood by others, like-minded connections, a sense of family and friendship, knowing your place in the world. The Oracle's message. This card signals a new affiliation with a group. Humans are social creatures and we need to know we are useful to our tribes, families, and communities. In the tribe, everyone has an important function and feels I matter. Membership in the group provides a sense of belonging, of kinship, and of purpose that comes from working together for the greater fulfillment of all. Perhaps you are part of a spiritual community or an artistic one. Perhaps you are in a learning community where you share your love of education. Regardless of its form or focus, your community brings you joy. You will be inspired by it and want to contribute to it. Your contributions may be as small as showing up or as large as becoming its leader. No matter your position in the tribe, your presence is needed. So, maybe to me, I'm thinking of that more as like really like your finance thing going on, but maybe that's, not necessarily just finances. Could be just something, anything that you're working on that's taking away from your love life at this point. So this could just be emphasizing that if your focus is elsewhere other than love, then maybe it's just the way it needs to play out for now anyway. The relationship message says you're discovering the essential qualities that you share with another, and perhaps also those you don't share. There are times when you follow and the other person leads, and times when you lead and the other person follows. The appearance of this card points to the importance of learning the proper dance between you and another. Accepting the truth that everyone has flaws is part of that dance. Yet you are also being asked to be aware of the dynamics that you don't want to repeat. You're in the perfect place to make changes in order to experience the best version of who you can be together. So maybe that's part of it too, right? Like maybe you guys are just still learning about each other, like what you want, what you need, right? And like I was saying, maybe that part of it too, where I was talking about the communication in the present, maybe you're working on letting them know what your expectations are, what you want, and what you need, right? Whereas in the past, you just might not have been putting any energy towards letting them know what you were going for, whereas they were trying to build something stable. And, maybe that's where you let them know, look, I'm not necessarily looking for anything serious, right? So, plenty of ways that could play out. But yeah, like I said, I can't remember right now who, because this card rarely comes out when I do my general readings, and I haven't really seen it come out in the romance ones until now. Like I said, one other sign got it too, and it might have been Leo. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah, basically the same thing I was telling them too. Is maybe it's just a sign, for this month anyway, with all the crazy retrogrades and eclipses and everything. Just focus on your friendships, families, and let love pick back up for you next month. All right, guys, we'll wrap up there, and I'll see you all next month. All right, bye.